Oppositional and defiant behavior in children is enough to push every parent past their limit. When you understand defiance in children, you can become strategic in your parenting and have a therapeutic way of interacting with your child that will create harmony in your home.
Welcome to Root Cause of Happiness. I'm Dr. Sarah Bryn Morrow, licensed psychologist, therapeutic yoga teacher, and optimal wellness educator. I teach the physiology of mental health and the skills that empower resilience. Join me as we explore the many pieces of the puzzle to deep healing at the root cause of happiness.
Oppositional defiant disorder, or ODD, is a fairly common mental health disorder diagnosed in childhood. It's especially common amongst children who have ADHD. Children diagnosed with ODD tend to argue with their parents and adult authority figures. They tend to resist directions and commands from adults. They will often be easily annoyed by other people, but also seek to annoy other people intentionally. They typically are unable to apologize when they've made mistakes and emphatically will blame other people for their poor choices. When you have a child with oppositional defiant disorder, it is incredibly frustrating. You feel like every day is a battle with your children just to try to get through the basics of each day's necessities. It feels like trying to do any kind of chore or family activity or get your child to comply is just a struggle and a battle that often leads to everybody being upset. It's really important if your child has oppositional defiant disorder symptoms that you look at their holistic health beyond the behavior, but also considering, do they have underlying anxiety? Many children with anxiety do not outwardly report that they are scared or worried, but rather they seek control, resistance, and will fight to avoid the things that they don't want to do or the things that make them feel anxious. Often when I work with children with oppositional defiant disorder, I come to see that that child is deeply insecure. They don't feel very safe in the world. They feel frustrated. They're worried about being good enough to handle the expectations of the world around them. Those children often are unhappy and don't really know why or what they want, but they're struggling in life. Usually those children also have a strong-willed temperament in which they have this fierceness, this strength and courage to be able to hold their ground and fight, very determined to not give in or have other people dictate the terms of how they live. If you have a child with ODD, it's important that you start reading and learning and becoming a therapeutic parent for your child. One of my favorite parenting books is called Mindful Discipline by Shapiro and White. Another useful book for behavior management of young children up to age 6 is called Parenting Your Strong-Willed Child by Forehand and Long. And if you really want to get specifically into ODD behavior therapy, the book by Russell Barkley called Your Defiant Child gives you many different behavior management strategies to try to reduce defiance and increase your child's ability to cooperate and comply with instructions. Start reading, start learning, get strategic, and hopefully you can find a system that works for your family. As a family therapist working with children with ODD, and when I have parents in daily conflict with their children over their child's defiant behavior, I will usually start by recommending parent-child interaction therapy. Very often what has happened in that parent-child relationship over time is that there has been a slow eroding of the parent-child attachment. Typically, by the time children who are strong-willed become age 2 or 3, they start fighting against their parents, having meltdowns, arguing, refusing to cooperate, refusing to do chores or help out, and it leads to a lot of conflict between the parent and child. Often, children who are strong-willed in this way will feel that they get much more criticism than praise. They will feel that no matter what they do, only their mistakes will be acknowledged, and when they make right choices, they feel ignored. So parent-child interaction therapy, sometimes written as PCIT, is a therapeutic technique that is really just special one-on-one playtime with your child. So if you think about a parent-child relationship that has included a lot of conflict, a lot of big negative emotions, really painful interactions between that parent and child, what will happen is that there's a deficit, what we call this emotional savings account in that relationship. So every time we have a fight, our children are mad at us, we are mad at them. There's a loss of this emotional savings account that protects the bond or the attachment in that parent-child relationship. And what we need to do on purpose right away is start to refill and actively contribute to this emotional savings account between parent and child. So what PCIT involves is on a schedule, ideally, so it is predictable for both you and your child, you schedule quality one-on-one time. It doesn't have to be a lot of time, even 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 3 times a week would be sufficient. What we do in PCIT is we dedicate our full attention to our child. So that means no cell phone with you, or if it's with you, turn it off or turn off any notification and ringer sounds. So the phone will not disrupt you. You tell the rest of the family, I'm having my special time right now with this child. I won't be available for the next 20 minutes. So please respect my time with your sibling, and I will be back soon. If you have multiple children, it can be really nice to alternate parent-child interaction time with both of your kids. Or if you have 2 parents, 2 kids, to alternate. So each parent taking a turn, spending that special time with each of the kids. So in PCIT, we set a timer. It's really important that your child knows, I have 20 minutes just for you. And I'm going to put 20 minutes on this kitchen timer, and that will tell us that we got our full special time together. While we're together, I'm not going to let anything interrupt us. I'm not going to answer the phone, and the rest of the family knows that right now you have me all to yourself. What would you like to do while we hang out together? This is a wonderful time to find an activity that is non-competitive, in which you can engage in somewhat of parallel play with your child. Parallel play means that we're both doing our own activity, something similar, but independent from each other, but we're enjoying spending the time together. So an example might be building Legos. We're each building our own creation, but we're sharing the Legos together. And I'm referencing my child and looking over, giving feedback, almost like a sports commentator. Oh, wow, I see what you're building there. That's looking great. Oh, I like the colors you're choosing for your design. That's really awesome. Oh, you're building a rocket. Maybe I'll try to build something like that too and see what I can come up with. Drawing pictures together, playing with Play-Doh or modeling clay, anything that is sort of creative, low stress, relaxing, and we can each be working on our activity while enjoying each other's company or having a conversation. During parent-child interaction time, the goal is to not ask questions and not give commands. This sounds easy, but it's actually rather difficult for parents. We are natural teachers. We're always wanting to help our children learn to do things a little bit better. We often quiz young children like, how many is that? Can you say this word? Can you spell this word? Can we count together? And we're often correcting behavior and trying to give our children feedback to be able to do things better. In PCIT, the goal is to reduce any sense of power differential between parent and child. So you're coming into this space saying, you have my full attention. I won't let anything disrupt us. I have this much time dedicated to you. Let's choose an activity that you enjoy that we can do together. And I'm going to step out of my role as your parent, teacher, guide, and just be with you. And the goal in that parental energy is to portray to the child or present yourself in a way where they have a sense that you are fully present, that you adore them, that you are curious and interested in what they do and how they do it and what their interests are, and that you just enjoy being together. And so as like a sports commentator might say, like, I see you doing this. Oh, now you're doing it that way. That's really creative. I like what I'm seeing there. It's so fun spending this time together. I really enjoy when we can just hang out and have this relaxing activity together with no distractions or interruptions. And you're just making sure your child feels fully seen, understood, cared about, and valued. So the more we can include parent-child interaction time, it's as if we're investing in this emotional savings account in the parent-child relationship. And if there's an investment in that account, and then we have to deal with a negative topic like chores or bedtime or homework, there is something from that child to draw from and want to give back and cooperate more with that parent. Parent-child interaction therapy has a fairly significant amount of research behind it. It's always recommended by Dr. Russell Barkley, and it really is an essential therapeutic starting point when there's a lot of conflict in a parent-child relationship, and if a child is showing oppositional and defiant behaviors towards their caregivers. So we start by looking at the attachment and the relationship and trying to create positive interactions in which that child feels very loved and supported, seen and understood, so that the bond begins to strengthen and the child is more likely to be cooperative when needed. That's an important piece to get child behavior in the right direction over time, but it's probably not enough. So we start there, but then we also have to look at how are parents giving commands that aren't being very effective in getting compliance. So we often are busy as parents, and we might be in the kitchen washing dishes or cooking or doing laundry, and we'll holler maybe to the next room even, or a ways away to our child who's doing their own activity. And we expect our child not only to hear us without seeing us, but to process what we've said and to make the right choice to comply without any parental follow-through. And then when we go see that our child has not listened, is not doing what we've asked, we tend to be immediately frustrated and sometimes reprimand. So instead, we want to work on giving effective commands and being very intentional how we give commands. If your child is very defiant, first of all, I want you to reduce the number of commands you give. It is way better to give 5 commands a day, see them through to completion so you can praise your child, versus giving 20 or 30 or more commands a day, and very few of them are actually effectively delivered to where the child's behavior is compliant. So we want to reduce the number and the kind of difficulty of our commands to help our child begin to experience success. And we're going to want to start by giving on purpose little tiny baby commands that we are pretty sure our child will cooperate with. So one example is you might be sitting at the dinner table and you can ask your child very specifically, can you please pass me that dish or the salt and pepper? And it's so easy, right? Your kiddo's like right there, it's in front of them. And it's not usually a big deal for them to even think about it. They'll just pick up the thing and pass it to you. That is an opportunity. That is a chance for you to say, hey, make eye contact. Hey, thank you so much for listening the first time. That helps me out. I appreciate it. And just smile at them and say thank you and make them feel like, oh, like mom noticed, like I did a little thing and mom cared, right? So we just want to give credit and say thank you and acknowledge any little teeny tiny baby steps towards listening the first time, cooperating and complying with directions. Then we might want to think about a little harder challenge, like, hey, these are shoes that need to get put on the shoe shelf. Would you mind grabbing these and running them over and putting them on the shelf for me? I'm really busy right now. That would help me out. And hopefully, keep that peripheral eye on your kiddo. Hopefully they just grab them and walk and go. And if they do, go to them and say, thank you so much for listening the first time. I really appreciate that you did that for me. And it really helps me out when you contribute and help me tidy up the house. So start with small things that require no more than a couple moments of your child's time and create a positive reinforcement experience for them. Whatever works, whatever gets reinforced means it will happen more often. And reinforcement works a million times better than punishment. Punishment is simply not very effective at changing human behavior. And we can see that from the disciplinary strategies that don't tend to work very well in schools, all the way up to the fairly failed prison system. Punishment does not change behavior. It tends to just wound relationships and create an increasing sense of resentment in that person, in that child. So we always want to think about, if I'm having a behavioral issue with my kiddo, how can I reinforce the successful opposite of that behavior? So we always want to get creative and figure out, if I'm looking for this to go away, how do I reinforce, praise, reward the opposite of that? And if I'm trying to teach a new behavior, how do I make that behavior feel good, give the child a sense of empowerment, self-esteem, importance, feeling that they matter in the family system, that their contribution is helpful? So we always want to work on a lot of emotional reinforcement. Sometimes we can do rewards and prizes as well. It's not a problem to do a formal reward program in which our children have goals and cash in their points earned for rewards we've identified. That can be an extra level of motivating for our kiddos, but the biggest reinforcement is human contact. To feel seen, heard, appreciated, understood, to feel of worth and value, that my contributions matter, and when I do the right thing, it is acknowledged, and it feels good to do the right thing all the time. That is not always how children feel. They often feel that when they do the right thing, they get nothing. And when they do one wrong thing, they get a whole lot of reaction from the world around them. And they reach a point of kind of learned helplessness, like, why should I bother? It doesn't really matter. If I do the right thing, I don't get anything for that. It doesn't seem to have any power behind it. But acting out has a lot of power. So we really want to look at our children and figure out, like, if they're having this behavior recur, is there power in that for them? If my child is anxious, is this a way they're getting a sense of control? If my child is resistant to my direction, am I over-directing? Am I not giving my child a voice and a say and allowing my kiddo to make a lot of their decisions for themselves? So wherever we can empower children to say, hey, would you like carrot or bell pepper with your lunch? Or would you like the blue or the green shirt today? Or why don't you pick out your socks and underwear and shoes you want to wear with your outfit? Just giving them choices. We're going to go out to dinner. Do you have a request where we go? Or we're going to pick a movie. Would you like to be in charge? We're thinking one of these 3 movies. What would you like to watch tonight? And to invite our children to have some decision-making power and some sense of control in their lives where appropriate. So wherever we can allow our children a sense of control and decision-making power, that helps them feel a sense of personal autonomy and power in their lives, where they won't need to be seeking power through inappropriate areas. So as we give commands, we want to keep it small at first, and we want to watch for compliance and respond quickly and give some sense of positive emotional reinforcement. It can include also things like high fives, hugs, loving eye contact with a smile, just a big thank you. Dad gets home later, brag to dad about the helpfulness from your child. Grandma calls, let her know how your child made a big contribution to the family today, or listened the first time, or got a bunch of chores done. So every opportunity, we want our children to feel built up. I'm making people proud. My efforts are seen and appreciated. I matter in the family. And when I do good things, I feel that the world responds in good ways to me. As we have to do more difficult tasks like clean your bedroom, clean the bathroom, sweeping, mopping, dishes, these are bigger jobs, and we want to make sure that we don't overwhelm our kids. So whenever it's a bigger job, we want to break it down into as many small pieces as possible and only give a manageable direction at a time. So for example, if we need our children to clean their room, that might include 5 different steps, right? We might need to pick up dirty clothes, put away clean clothes, tidy up books, put toys back in toy bins, make the bed. Maybe we even have our child vacuum or dust. So these are multiple steps that lead to a clean room. But if you ask your child, go clean your room, that can feel overwhelming to them and they can really kind of panic, but in their panic, they might just shut down and avoid or fight to not have to try to do a job they don't think they can handle. So instead, we want to break that big job into one step at a time. And you can know your own child to determine once they've done the first task, can they handle the second and third task? Or do we need to spread that big job out over a few days? It's really helpful if we write chores down on chore cards, or if it's a 3 or 4 steps to a job, break it down and write it down on a step-by-step checklist. And there's a natural reinforcement that occurs when I've done step 1 and I can cross it off. I've done step 2 and I'm crossing that off. And as we see that we've accomplished our goals and we're getting a big job done, it is self-reinforcing. So step-by-step written list is great, or a chore card in which you just have one chore at a time that you hand your kiddo. When they've done that job, they bring the card back to you. So we can break down big jobs into small steps. When you give a command, though, it's really important that your child is not distracted. So if they are watching a show, on a computer game, playing with a toy, and you holler a command at them, they might hear you, meaning their ears are working, but they're not processing what they've heard. And so it's really important that we get our children's full undivided attention when we give a command. So if our child's in an activity, say they're watching a show, we would say, how many more minutes are left on your show? And hopefully it's just a short amount of time. And you can say, great, it's fine if you finish what you're watching, but when that's done, come find me. I have a request for you. If their show is long, we're going to ask them to pause it and say, I know you're loving your show. I know that's really fun, but I need you to pause it for right now because we have to get some chores done. So whatever they're doing, have them turn it off, set it aside, and be fully looking at you. So don't have them holding their toy and look at you. They're probably still thinking about their toy. So make them set it down and fully attend to you and say, hey, I know you were having fun and I'm sorry to interrupt that, but we have to get some chores done and we need to do them now because it's going to be dinner time soon. So your job is, and we'll give the command. Now, maybe they need that visual reminder and we can write it down on a sticky note or have a chore card for that job that we reuse the same chore cards. Or we can just try to give a verbal command. And if our child just kind of shuts down and looks grumpy about it, we want to validate the emotion. So always connect before you redirect behavior. So the connection is to say, I know it's not much fun when we have to do chores, is it? I feel the same way. I really don't want to have to do all the dishes every day. I feel kind of frustrated sometimes. But I know if I get behind, it's going to become a much more unpleasant big job. So I try to chip away a little bit every day. So we just try to validate it's frustrating, it's normal, and it makes sense you feel that way. We all kind of struggle to want to have to do those have-tos, right? We always wish we could do the want-tos, the fun things that we enjoy. So validate the emotion, sympathize with them a little bit, and then loving but firm, hold your ground. I know you're a little bit bummed you have to do that, but let's get it done quickly. I bet if you work hard, we can get that done in 5 or 10 minutes. In fact, should we set a timer and see how fast you can go? So timers can either be a countdown goal, like let's see if you can get this done in 10 minutes, or a stopwatch is kind of a fun, like beat the clock, see can you beat your last record time, or let's see how long it takes you. Can you go so quick it's less than 5 or 10 minutes? So timers can kind of help create some time structure and a little bit of a motivator for kids to hustle, to work faster. Now, let's hope your child stands up at that point and starts to go do the thing you've asked them to do. Thank them right away. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening right away. I know it won't take very long, and then you can go back to your activity. So we want to praise them just for getting up and starting to walk towards the chore. Then we want to check back in. So where a lot of parents go wrong in giving effective commands is they give a command without their child's full attention, or they give a command and neglect to follow up on how the child is doing with that requested activity. So if your child is maybe going to go to their bedroom and start picking up clothes, then within 1 minute, you're going to want to follow up. So don't, crowd them too much and be in their space a lot, but pop into their bedroom and just say, hey, just check in. How's it going with picking up your clothes? You doing okay? Is there anything you feel you need my help with? Gosh, it's already looking better in here. Thanks for working hard. Way to go. So we want to follow up with the most optimism we can that our child hopefully is listening and doing as they were asked. Then we can praise, thank them, reinforce them emotionally right away. We can also ask and offer if they need any help. Now, maybe you go back 1 minute later and your child's doing nothing, right? They're just sitting in their room playing with toys. Then you need to go in and say, hey, what did I ask you to do back there? Do you remember we were in the kitchen and I asked you to do something? I gave you that sticky note. What was your job? And challenge them to repeat the job. And maybe they won't, and that's okay. And then you're going to say, well, I asked you to please pick up your clothes, right? So here's your chore card. Pick up your clothes. And that's your job right now. Do you need help? And you can just offer help. That doesn't mean you do it for them. That means you're just showing this emotional support. But you're showing, I'm not going to let this go. I am going to pay attention and follow up with you. And I'm here for you if you have a legitimate request for help, but I'm not going to let you just avoid or ignore the task that needs to get done. So follow up. After 1 minute, go back in 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, go back at 10. So as we are training compliance and teaching our children good work habits and good work ethic, getting their own chores done day to day, we want to pay attention and check in often and praise them and reinforce them along the way. And then slowly as they get older, we can back off on that parental support. Eventually, you should be able to say, hey, you need to clean your room today. And they will know what that means because you've broken that down into those 5 or 6 steps they need to do. You've monitored and checked on them and reinforced their effort along the way. And cleaning their room hasn't felt traumatic out of parental conflict or consequences, but rather they feel a sense of competence. They know what that means. They know the steps involved. They've done it before with varying degrees of parental support. As they get older, they shouldn't need that support at all. So we want to get full attention, get eye contact, give one command at a time, or write a couple steps down on a list for them. Use a visual checklist or a chore card. Check on them often, praise and reinforce them emotionally as they're in action with that activity. And if they're not, we're just going to show up with this question of, what are you supposed to be working on? What's going on that you're not able to get that done right now? What would help you get it done? Would you like music on while you clean up your room? Would you like a timer to set a time goal so you'll know that you're working quickly to beat the clock and hopefully you can be all done in just a few minutes? So we just want to kind of collaboratively problem solve. So it's not a you better or else. It's more of, hey, what's going on that's not working here? What do you need? And maybe our kiddo is going back to toys or electronics. We can say, when this job is done, then electronics are available again. So the when, then wording can be helpful. When you finish the job, then that privilege comes back. When we get through with our have-tos, then you can go back to your want-tos. And whenever the job gets done, we want to celebrate that. We really want to give a high five, a hug, a thank you, look them in the eye and smile, and make it feel good. Make it actually feel good for them to have listened and complied and finished a task that maybe they didn't want to do and felt a little bit challenging, but they did it. So we always want to bring this reinforcement. Now, sometimes our kids are really distractible when we're given the direction. They just won't really attend and listen to the command. In that case, you don't want to send them away. You want to get validation from them that they heard you. So when you're done giving the command, you might need to check in and say, hey, I just want to make sure you heard me. What is your job right now? What are you going to go do? And get them to repeat back what you've asked them. That can just confirm that it did make it into that frontal lobe. They did process your words and heard what you said, and they know what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, so all of these things are helpful to break down commands in that way. If you do a reward program, put it on paper and keep it simple, right? So reward programs can get really convoluted and they tend to not be very sustainable. I actually think reward programs are best used for about a 2-month period at a time. Take a nice long break. You can always do another one down the road. Pick about 2, 3, or 4 behavioral goals. They need to be very specific. So we don't want to have a general goal like be nice, or listen to mom and dad. We want to have a goal like brushing your teeth at bedtime without arguing, or using kind words with your brother when you're frustrated. And we're going to teach that. So beyond how we give commands, we also want to give corrective learning experiences to our children. So we'll get into that in a minute, but on our reward program, very specific behavior goals, not too many at any given time. You want to find a way to track success on a daily basis. In most circumstances, we'll just say 1 token or point per goal that you achieve today, and then we'll have a bank. And usually it's nice with younger kids to have those goals lead to tokens like poker chips or marbles. At the end of each day, we review our child's goals with them. We praise them during the day every time they're showing effort on a goal. And we decide how many tokens they've earned for today. Those tokens go in their bank. And when they have usually about 20 tokens over a 5 to 10 day window, then they're eligible to pick a reward off of a list of positive activities or treats, or even some money or extra screen time, a play date, an outing to a park, maybe a favorite restaurant meal, baking a dessert with parents. So we'll define a list of maybe about 10 reward choices that our child can cash in their tokens and pick a reward off of that list. So it's really not complicated to reward behaviors. Just write down the goals, define the number of tokens it takes to earn a reward, identify rewards your child's excited about, and be consistent. So where a lot of parents go wrong with reward programs is they forget, life gets busy. We put our kids in bed and then we go, oh, I forgot again to do tokens, right? To do the reward payout for today. By tomorrow, it's old news. Our child doesn't even remember really what went well or not so well yesterday. So put an alarm in your phone towards evening, before bedtime maybe, to not forget to review the goals with our child and distribute those tokens into their bank and praise them on their progress towards earning their next reward. And for most children, those rewards need to come about every 5 to 10 days to have buy-in. So a reward that will take months to earn is unlikely to change behavior. Children need a sense that this is within reach quickly. I can get that next fun reward soon if I work hard. So create a reward program if you'd like to add that extra incentive of some type of a materialistic or activity reward to increase your child's motivation to try their best. If your child acts out in a rude, defiant, or disrespectful way, this is where we want to go into either a behavioral rewind or a communication re-script. So if our child yells at us, makes a demand in a rude tone of voice, says hurtful words, what we want to do is re-script that for them with appropriate language that still honors their emotion they're trying to communicate. So one thing you might think about saying is, I can tell you're really mad at me, but I can't hear you when you yell. You can say it this way. Mom, I'm so mad that I have to clean my room. It doesn't feel fair to me. So you're validating their emotion. You are putting their feelings into words, You are using this I feel, I need language to help them be assertive without being aggressive, to be upset about a specific issue and not angry or mean in general terms. So we can give our children the words to use that would be an appropriate assertive expression of their feelings. And maybe their need is, I don't want to clean my room, and we're not going to give in to that, but we can problem solve with them. So we're going to re-script for them. I can hear you if you say it this way. Another example might be you give a command and your child does the, the big eye roll, big sigh or groan. They kind of collapse their posture. And instead of saying, knock that off, you can handle this, like, don't do that, that's invalidating, you might say, I know, cleaning your room is not fun, I get it. What I'd like to hear you say is, gosh, I don't want to clean my room, but okay, I'll go get it done. So we want to validate, I don't want to, but okay, Mom, I'll take care of that. And then if they really can't face the job, we'll say, what are you asking for? So whenever a child is fighting, saying, no, I don't want to do that, then we're going to say, what are you asking for here? What would you like? What idea do you have to get this job done? I can tell that you don't want to clean up your room. What do you think we can do that will work for you? Now, we have to have some banks on the river, right? We can't totally give in. We can't allow our children to avoid. They have to build the skills and confidence of being able to take care of themselves. But we can offer flexibility. If they're really not in the mood for it right now, we can ask, when? When do you think you'll be ready to do this? I think a lot of parents might be surprised at that question. Ask my kid when they want to do their chore. Yeah, give it a try at least, especially teenagers. So asking older children, when will this work for you, is really a sign of respect. Rather than saying, do this and do it now, we're saying, this needs to get done, it's important, but when works for you? And when a child commits and says, I'll do it after dinner, great. Just say, great. Okay, so I just want to make sure we're clear. You don't feel like doing this job now, which is what I would prefer, but I'm willing to be flexible. If it works better for you to wait till after dinner, that's fine with me, but can I count on you following through? Like, will you get this job done then? And often what you will see is that when a child has said they will do it and they've picked a time and they've picked a problem-solving solution that they say will work for them, they are way more likely to follow through. And if they do follow through, we can celebrate that and we can high-five them and really make this positive parent-child experience come from their success. So we don't want to reinforce a lot of procrastination. We don't want to say after dinner and then it's tomorrow and then it's over the weekend. We don't want to allow them to continue to procrastinate, but originally up front, we can say when will work for you, especially for older kids, and then hold them to it. So if they said they would and now they won't, we're going to have that conversation. And think of it more of an adult to adult kind of, conflict at work a little bit. We don't approach colleagues and kind of have our attitude and, you're a liar or I can't trust you. We stay calm. We try to be respectful, but firm and honest. And this is assertive communication. Hey, I'm frustrated. I wanted you to clean your room earlier and you didn't want to, and I understand that, but I asked you when I could count on it getting done, and you told me I could count on you getting that chore done tonight after dinner. And here I'm seeing it's getting late, you haven't even started. I'm feeling frustrated. I need this to happen. Let's get it done now. It's probably the follow-up to that. Let's do it now. So we really want to try to avoid any sense of power struggle or condescending arguments or insults or shame or blame or judgment or guilt trips. But we want to say, I'm frustrated. I thought I was really being flexible with you. I tried to give you some input. Now you're letting me down on our contract. So very often that will be the prompt that an older child needs to then follow through and comply. Behavioral rewinds mean sometimes we need to have a child go back and go through something with appropriate attitude and tone. So one example from my own parenting journey that I think about is my son, maybe 7 years old, was downstairs in the evening enjoying an activity, and it was time to come upstairs and get ready for bed. And so I didn't follow my own advice, hollered from upstairs, "Hey, time to come up and get ready for bed." And first he ignored me, and then I hollered again, and then he came up the stairs stomping and kind of grunting and huffing and puffing with anger. And I said, "Nope, that doesn't work." And he just kind of looked at me, and I said, "Go back and we're going to do this all over again." And he's like, "I don't want to." I'm like, "Go back, we're going to do this over again." And so he went back. I went to my position at the top of the stairs, and I used a very kind, positive tone of voice. "Hey, buddy, time to come up and get ready for bed." And he grumbled and stomped again. And I said, "No," I said, "we're going to do this again the right way. I'm going to say time for bed, and you're going to walk without stomping. And you're going to say, 'Okay, Mom, I don't want to go to bed, but okay.'" And it probably took about 3 or 4 repetitions before he knew that I wasn't going to just let him upstairs, moping, grunting, stomping, grumpy. We were going to go through it in a way that works better and feels better for both of us. So I tried to hold my ground on my gentle tone of voice, just as friendly as I was the first time I gave the command. But I was going to make him behaviorally rewind and try again and try one more time to walk and be calm and maybe be unhappy, but say, "Okay, I'm coming upstairs to get ready for bed." So these are examples, if your child slams doors, that's a great time to go back and redo that. If they are in conflict with a sibling, this is a time to script for them the kind of language that will work better and feel better, usually leading from this place of tell your sibling how you feel and tell them what you need. And then we take turns and we try to understand both people have feelings, both people have needs. How do we meet in the middle somewhere? So communication skills like that, what we call nonviolent communication, how to be assertive, really validate and own our feelings. I feel upset about this. I don't like this. I don't want to have to do that. But I also know that I need to cooperate here. So we want to be honest and assertive and authentic, but not aggressive, not reactive, not argumentative or disrespectful. And there's a way that is very true to our actual feelings, but it works better and sounds better and feels better for both the person communicating and the person being spoken to. So we want to rescript and we want to behaviorally rewind sometimes to have our children actually learn and go through the motions of what it feels like to do things in a way that's more mature and really works better in navigating life. Okay, so if you have a strong-willed kiddo, just know it's okay. They will probably be well served by their strong will into their teen years, resisting peer pressure and influences that aren't really good for them, and also into adulthood. Strong-willed adults tend to do well, persevering, striving for high goals, taking care of themselves. So it often makes parenting difficult when our children are young, but over time, your child's temperament, that strong-willed personality, might actually serve them well in living a great life. In the meantime, we want to really focus on that parent-child relationship as the number one goal. We want to laugh together, dance together, joke around, be silly, be a goofball, make your children feel that you're kind of fun and silly and lighthearted to be around most of the time. And when we have to be alpha parent, we have to be alpha parent. And an alpha parent is not an angry parent. An alpha parent is clear, firm, consistent, and follows through. But we can inform that alpha dominance with a loving kindness and compassion as well. Spend that one-on-one quality time with your kiddos in which you lower that power differential and just meet them right in their child world of creative play. Give them reflective feedback just to show how much you enjoy being with them and watching them and learning from them. I love learning from my kids. It's always just exciting to see the things that they know and come up with, and to be able to tell them, that's so cool, I didn't know that, thanks for teaching me that, or I love how you're doing that, can you show me how to do it like that too? And to help our children feel a sense of some expertise in their own lives that we're genuinely interested in. Give lots of praise, give lots of fireworks, big emotional energy to our children's success moments. And when there are problems, we want to keep the fireworks down, right? So we want to think about, where is my parental energy going? When my children act out, are defiant, don't listen, don't comply, do they get a lot of sense of power from that? Do I lose my cool? Do I stop what I'm doing to attend to that? Do I give them a lot more emotional energy, say more words toward them about their negative behavior than I do when they're making good choices? And don't let sleeping dogs lie. If your children are doing well, react, go to them, tell them, you're doing so great today. I love seeing how nicely you guys are playing together. Oh my gosh, like you picked up without me even asking you. I'm so proud of you. Like, high five. I can't believe you did that. So keep your parental energy leaning towards mostly the positive moments and the good choices that our kids do make. And when we have to deal with misbehavior, keep it fairly short, calm, and boring, and avoid punishment and instead focus on reinforcement and rewards to increase more of the good behavior we're looking for. There are many good books out there to help manage childhood behavior. I mentioned a few today, but keep reading, keep learning, and become strategic so that you're not just parenting on a whim or out of your own impulsive reactions, but parenting from a place of understanding your child's point of view and their developing brain and nervous system. If your children are prone to anxiety or anger reactivity, start to work with them on self-regulation coping skills. I have multiple videos on different topics that teach different coping skills for different issues, but for sure teach them to pause and notice, be aware of their thoughts and choose new ways of self-talk, to notice their breathing and to learn to breathe from nose to belly, to notice their body and choose to keep their body calm, but also in this tall, strong, high-powered posture. So teach them to work with their body, breath, and mind, and that will help them become resilient over time. There's so much you can do to learn how to become strategic in parenting your strong-willed child, and you'll be so grateful that you worked on this when you find your relationship with your child healing and a sense of harmony in your home. Thank you for joining me at Root Cause of Happiness. If this information was useful to you, please share it with others seeking knowledge and tools for resilience. It is a meaningful contribution to the world when we become proactive in our healing journeys, by learning and growing, by increasing our awareness, by addressing the root cause of happiness.